Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe, narrated by Disney, or from Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it, Legends. Today, I have for you the Star Wars Episode 2 Adventures by Ryder Wynnum. There's also a comic somewhere in here because I forgot to mention it. It's also in Star Wars Tales number 13. I think it's like Sith and Shadows or something with Mace Windu. It's okay. That's what I have to say about that. Uh, but yeah, so these 6 books. The first 3 books, focus, of course, on the Jedi. The first 2 are on Obi-Wan and Anakin again. It's fine. Nothing fantastic. I mean, all 6 stories are connected, but the focus is different. So, and then the third book, Kit Fisto and Mace Windu show up. Kit Fisto isn't really a big part of it. I mean, he's there. I mean, Mace Windu gets kind of a big section in the third book, but it's mostly, Anakin and Obi-Wan, as it has been during this entire, 10-year period. And it's fine. What's more interesting is stuff going on in the background, which our heroes don't learn about, is what these villains are trying to do to this planet Fondor. Now, the really interesting parts come into the second half of the series with books 4, 5, and 6. Books 4, 5, and 6 focus on Jango Fett and the Bounty Hunters Guild, which is also really interesting because it's sort of like a very loose, you don't need this to completely understand the trilogy way down the line, but there is a trilogy way down the line, like after episode 6, called the Bounty Hunter Wars Trilogy. Now, the Bounty Hunter Wars Trilogy, the main story that takes place in present time for that book is Boba Fett recovering from the Sarlacc pit. While most stories are flashbacks, I want to say probably, I don't know, before episode 4 or after episode 4, but before episode 5 of a big bounty hunter war that went on between the bounty hunters or something like that. I haven't actually read it. This is one of the few ones I missed. So that'll be interesting. But this has Bosk and his father, who is the head of the Bounty Hunters Guild. You have Jango Fett, you have Zam Wesell. Aura Singh makes an appearance. There's another one that I'm not going to tell you just because it's a really in-depth EU thing, or it's a really deep, little dissection there, which I'll mention in spoilers. Aura Singh was kind of a spoiler, but it's okay. It's cool. 1 through 3 are okay, but books 4, 5, and 6, I am genuinely, they are actually really, really good. I really, really enjoyed them. And you gotta remember, these are the episode 2 adventures. So just like the episode 1 adventures, this was connected to some sort of game that kids could play. I guess it was kind of like a role-playing game. You had dice to so you could play as Jango Fett, and there'd be certain actions you'd have to take in between chapters and stuff. And then you continue reading the story. I can't speak to the quality of that because I've never played that. I just needed to have the story. But as it goes, 4, 5, and 6, of the episode 2 adventures were really great. Especially since we don't have that many stories with Jango. I mean, as of right now, we have episode 2 after this. Then Jango's gone. I mean, I'm sure Boba will have parts of stories where he'll have flashbacks to his dad, and we'll maybe see more of his dad that way. And I know there's a big comic book series or a little comic book issue with Boba Fett way down the line where he has flashbacks to his father. But still, we don't get that many stories with Jango Fett. So the fact that we get children's books that focus on him is really cool, and the fact that there's so much continuity in here for no reason. This is meant for kids, and again for kids in middle school and high school to just read, right, to help with the reading comprehension and stuff. And here you have Ryder Wynnum writing this stuff in here because he knew losers would read it, adults would read it. And it's just, it's absolutely, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy. 1 through 3 were fine. They're nothing in comparison to Jedi Quest, though, with Obi-Wan and Anakin. And I was like, oh, Kit Fisto's showing up, but then he didn't do much. I know Kit Fisto is going to be actually kind of a thing during the Clone Wars, but he doesn't do anything here, so it's not like I really got anything out of that. And, I mean, the story was kind of funny. There were some funny moments with, Obi-Wan. He almost got married, so that was funny. But no, 4, 5, and 6, everything about it with Jango Fett, oh man, what Jango Fett does at the end to get the Bounty Hunters Guild off his back. Um, Stuff with Zam Wessel, like I never thought I'd care about Zam Wessel, and with the comic book with her and the couple short stories, and this little series here, like I kind of care about Zam Wessel. Who would have thought? This random Claudite character. Who would have thought that I'd care about this person? Um, so that's really cool. And yeah, uh, I can't really get anything else without getting into spoilers, but like, it was a lot of fun. It if you can find them, like illegally online, or if you can, find a decent price. These are not worth like $30 to $20, so you can find it for like I don't know, 10 or less, then maybe. But I mean, a collection of all of them, maybe 30. I don't think it's worth any more than that, because half of the stories aren't even that impressive. Um, but yeah, this is really fun. All we have left now is the approaching storm. After we finish the approaching storm, we have reached episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and then the headache of the Clone Wars. So I hope you all join me for that, for those of you who don't want spoilers. For those of you who don't care about spoilers, for those of you who are veterans of the Star Wars Expanse universe, where you've read everything. I mean, this is like kind of like a thing where like not every EU person has read the Star Wars adventure books. So this is actually more of a deep dive than like, because this is like Matt Wilkins level read everything here. So, but yeah, if you don't care about spoilers, or you've already read it or whatever, then stick around. I only have a couple things to talk about. But yeah, I didn't even mention the titles of any of these books, huh? Star Wars, the first one is The Hunt for the Sunrunner. Book 2 is Cavern of the Screaming Skulls. Book 3 is Hostage Princess. Book 4 is Jango Fett versus the Razor Eaters. Book 5 is The Shapeshifter Strikes. And Book 6 is Warlords of Balmora. I don't really have any notes for Book 1 or Book 2. Book 3, we do have Anakin's dream. He dreams of rescuing his mother. Of course, his mother says in the nightmare, "You've abandoned me." Which is important because of what will happen in episode 2. So, of course, that's really cool. He's not getting visions of her dying yet. He will soon, but not yet. Obi-Wan is a ladies' man. 2 women fight over him. Of course, we learn later on what's going on with the daughter. But still, it's a really funny little exchange there where they're fighting for his hand in marriage. The epilogue also for the hostage book was really good. It had a Sidious and Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, and I was like, oh yeah, we're getting those boys again. So very cool. So we're heading ever so closer to episode 2. As I said, all I really have for book 4 was that it's a slight prequel to the Bounty Hunter Wars, with having Bosk's father in there. There's also some good parallels between Bosk and Boba. It was kind of a funny parallel, but still. The chapters kind of showed Jango and his son, because he brought his son on for the mission. Boba, perfectly loyal, perfectly obeys everything his father says, does not disrespect his father, has a good relationship with his father, well, as good as you can have when your father's a bounty hunter. He worships his dad because reasons. But then you see the difference with Bosk and his father. Bosk hates his father. Bosk is also really stupid, which is really funny. I mean, I'm sure he's probably taken a bit more seriously in other material, but I mean, he's younger here, so he can maybe accept the fact that he's a Trandoshan though. They're not known to be the smartest species, I don't think. But still, I mean, it's just really funny seeing the parallels between the two of them and how their fathers are trying to mentor them. Book 5, The Shapeshifter Strikes. Not too much to say about it. Jango Fett needs to go take Boba back because Bosk finds out about Boba, and Jango feels that this will be a weakness to him, having his son around, so he takes him back to Kamino. I'll talk about what he does near the very end. But while he's doing whatever he's doing, we have Zam Wessel take care of something for Jango, take care of a bounty. So we get to see her in action by herself without the help of Jango Fett, of course. And yeah, she's a likable bounty hunter. I like her. She feels like a Han Solo. Had she had better friends, maybe she could have turned out differently. A she, whatever she is, a he, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what Claudite actually is. It prefers to be a female most of the time, so I'm gonna assume that it's a woman. I don't know how Claudites work though. I don't know the deep lore behind the Claudites, but yeah, it was a fun little story with Zam Wessel. In book 6, Warlords of Balmora. Here's the big deep dive here. Score helps Bosk because Bosk's father asks him to. Who's Score? I don't even know who that person is. But I did look up his name. Score is a character from the old Marvel comics. Yes, the Marvel comics that focus on Luke, Han, and Leia, and were written in like the 70s or 80s or whatever. And he was like a bad guy in that series or something. What a connection to somebody from that series bringing him here into the prequel era. That's just, I loved it. I mean, I don't know how big of a character he is in the comics, obviously. I haven't read it. He can maybe be in like one issue. It doesn't matter. The fact is that he didn't have to do this. That's the thing about Ryder Wynnum. He didn't have to try so hard. It's meant for kids. He didn't have to. He could have got his paycheck and left, but he went out of his way to bring in these connections, and that's why I love Ryder Wynnum from what I've seen of him so far. There was a really cool part, though. Jango ends up meeting up with Aura Singh, of all people. And we get to be in Jango's thoughts, and he says, you know, there are few people I fear in this galaxy. There are few people I respect in this galaxy. And he mentions Zam Wessel and Bosk's father as being the two people that he actually respects in this universe. And not a lot of people he feels sympathy for. But one person he does feel sympathy for, being Aura Singh. Who went through a lot of hardship in her life and didn't choose to be a bounty hunter. The bounty hunting life chose her. And I don't know, the whole little section there was really cool. And of course, just seeing Jango Fett and Aura Singh work together was really cool. And by the end of the story, when everything's all said and done, everything's wrapped up, Jango cannot let Boba be a leverage used against him. So, what did he do during the events of the Shapeshifter one? Well, Zam Wessel was going on her adventure. He got the Kamonians to create a clone just to die. It was just a brainless husk. Just a body. So he could bring the body. So he could shoot the body in the face as if he killed his own son. Bring the body to Bosk's father. So he can not only be afraid of Jango because he killed his own son, you know, thinking that he did that, and so he could stop bothering him. And I just thought that was really crazy. Like, obviously Jango, I don't think he'd actually kill a kid, but the fact that he's willing to make a clone kid and like mutilate it just to like get people off his back and to like take suspicion away from Bulba, I thought was crazy. I thought that was a really kind of dark ending there. And then, of course, it ends with him being like, you know, maybe I should get Boba a toy before I come home. Like, isn't that what a good father would do? Or something like that. And just contrasting that with what he just did, I thought was really cool. But yeah, overall, these, the last 3 books in the episode 2 adventures really, really surprised me. I didn't expect to care about it that much. I expect to be like, oh, okay, let's get through this. Because, like, I enjoyed the episode 1 adventures. Though, of course, the ones I enjoyed the most were the ones with Anakin Skywalker. But this one, I'm going to say, I think books 4, 5, and 6 here that focus on Jango Fett and stuff are better than all of the episode 1 adventures. But overall, yeah, I really enjoyed it. If you can find these, I recommend them before you go and rewatch episode 2 again. Just because you don't get that much of Jango Fett, right? So you should read this you should read these series just to get some more Jango Fett before he kicks the bucket. Anyway, guys, Thank you all so much for watching. Up next, we have The Approaching Storm by Alan Dean Foster. Until then, guys, may the Force be with you.